Ladies and gentlemen, Rahul Gandhi has an attention deficit disorder, politically speaking, quite obviously, because in the middle of a budget session, you're expected to make a major speech and you hold up an article and you say, I have got this information that a former army chief has questioned the government of India and exposed his memoir, exposes grave details. His name is General Naravane, and his unpublished memoir exposes grave details of the problems in the Modi government's handling of a China border crisis. Now, that is absolutely unadulterated garbage. But what else do you expect but unadulterated garbage from this 57-year-old with a ostensible and apparent attention deficit disorder? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the core issue. The core issue is what? The core issue is that there is a claim that Naravane was about to publish a book. The book has not been published. And in the book, unpublished, hence unverifiable in that sense, it says that around the end of August 2020, when COVID was on, at that point of time, there was a stepping up of tension between India and China. It was reported that after we had made some gains, some strategic gains in Ladakh, in the Kailash range area, 4 Chinese tanks had moved up, and the Chinese tank movement was reported. It was reported by the commander down to Delhi, down to the defense minister, and down to the prime minister. And it is said with a little bit of usual excitement that there were up and down conversation, but there was no clear message which came back to General Naravane on what should be done. It then says, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where Rahul Gandhi gets it all wrong. He's messed up. It says that at one point of time when General Manoj Mukund Naravane wanted directions from the prime minister on what should be done, and I now quote the full thing. If you quote Naravane, Naravane's claim in his book, apparently unpublished, says that Rajnath Singh had spoken to Prime Minister Narendra Modi when the tension was building up. What should India do when the Chinese tanks are moving up and are a few hundred meters away from gaining higher ground? Apparently, then the Prime Minister's instructions consisted of a single sentence, which is classical Narendra Modi. He says, "Jo uchit samjho wahi karo." Translated as, do whatever you deem appropriate. Which means actually that Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave a free run to the Indian Army. That Prime Minister Narendra Modi said clearly to the Indian Army, go ahead, you have my full blessings, do what you want to defend the country. Ladies and gentlemen, that is as clear a message a political leadership can give to a military commander and army chief. It cannot be clearer than that. No army in the world can get more freedom to respond and hit back if necessary, fire back if necessary, do whatever required to defend our sovereignty than the words of the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as quoted by General Naravane, but not quoted by Rahul Gandhi, the 57-year-old with attention deficit disorder. Not quoted by Rahul Gandhi because Prime Minister Narendra Modi said. And I repeat, he gave a clear instruction, the kind of instruction the Prime Minister also gave during Operation Sindoor. You can question Narendra Modi on anything, you can never question him on his strategic decision and the freedom that he's given to our armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, his clear instructions were, Jo uchit samjho wahi karo. And I ask you, as citizens of India, do you not agree with this direction the Prime Minister gave to our army chief? Are you not proud? Are you not proud? Which means, at that point of time, the army chief was given a free run to take on China in the way you want. That can only come from a Prime Minister who says, do what you want militarily, I will handle the diplomatic and geopolitical consequences. This has never happened before, ladies and gentlemen, never happened before. It's a colossal misinterpretation, deliberate, malicious misinterpretation by Rahul Gandhi. In fact, not just this, if Rahul Gandhi actually wants to speak the truth on this matter, he should quote what Naravane himself said to a news agency. In an interview to A9, what did Naravane say in the context of this incident? He said, we have not lost any territory, not an inch was lost. After we stood up for them, everyone said we are fighting for what is right. After the clash occurred, we showed it is possible to stand up to China. We diminished the stature of China as a country in global eyes.
I think not only of the PLA itself, but I feel it diminished the stature of China as a country in the global eyes. Because after this clash occurred and we showed that it is possible to stand up to China, who tries to bully its smaller neighbors.
This is what Naravane has said. Now, if some God-forsaken writer for an unheard of magazine spins it in a different way to do a long form piece, is the government and army to be held to account? The problem with Rahul Gandhi is that he dislikes the Indian army. He wants to use every opportunity to show China up there and India lower than China. That's his entire game plan. Otherwise, he would have quoted what Naravane had said. He would have had the honesty, decency to quote the words of the Prime Minister quoted by Naravane. And I request General Naravane as well. Come on, General Naravane. You have been dragged into an unseemly political controversy. It should not have been the case. I know you have not lent yourself to this unwarranted situation. No army chief should go through what Rahul Gandhi has made you go through, General Naravane. But now that he has, General Naravane, you must speak up and tell the truth. Did you or did you not get a free run from the Prime Minister of India? And what more could you have expected? The decision on whether to fire, not to fire, to do something else, to use strategic advantage or display of strength. What General Naravane did was interesting. He showed our tanks and made our tanks visible to the people handling the Chinese tanks. The Chinese tanks were light tanks, ours were heavier, medium tanks. The moment the Chinese saw that we were in a higher position, ready to fire on lighter Chinese tanks, they panicked and they went back. Now that is smart thinking by General Naravane, if that is indeed the true order of events as he has narrated. But to try and politicize it, to say that India has not handled China well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am putting on record the Prime Minister of India told the army chief, do what you want, in other words, I'll handle the consequences. This is a fearless Prime Minister, a sure Prime Minister, confident Prime Minister who knows he has the backing of the people of India and who is a true leader. Ladies and gentlemen, if Rahul Gandhi really wants to talk, then he should talk about how his great-grandfather in 1972 played down, giving up Aksai Chin and said, not a blade of grass grows there, don't worry, let's give it. If he really wants to talk, he should talk about 2013 when his mother was de facto Prime Minister of India, when a Chinese incursion in eastern Ladakh escalated tensions in Chumar. Instead of imposing diplomatic or military costs, Indian troops were made to dismantle forward observation posts and demolish live-in bunkers. Rahul Gandhi, read recent military history before you open your mouth. You are a disgrace here. And ladies and gentlemen, was it the BJP that kept quiet on the 19 kilometers incursion in India's Dipsang in 2013? April 15, 2013 to be exact, when a platoon of the PLA advanced 19 kilometers inside the LSC in the Dipsang area of eastern Ladakh. Then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh did not name, condemn or warn China publicly. That is the fact. And so it is a cheap tactic by Rahul Gandhi to grab a headline, grab some attention, show some relevance, do that t-shirt wearing number and try to appear like a teenager and say, oh, I will expose things. If he wanted to speak the truth, he should have said, he should come tomorrow to the Parliament of India and apologize for not telling the people of India that yes, the man sitting in front of us, the Prime Minister of India, is the same man who said to his army chief, Jo uchit samjho wahi karo. Ladies and gentlemen, do what you need to do. That is the backing a true leader gives to the chief of his army. That is the backing we are all proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time that you, if you're watching this, share this with others so that Rahul Gandhi can be made to be accountable sometimes. Parliament is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. And he's not behaving like a serious leader of the opposition for a long time. But if this attempt to drag the army into a political controversy goes unquestioned, then imagine what this person can do next, what Rahul Gandhi can do next.